The neurotransmitters of the preganglionic and postganglionic sympathetic fibers secretes adrenaline and noradrenaline. The fibers of the sympathetic ganglion. This is the sympathetic ganglion. This is the preganglionic fibers and postganglionic fibers. And here these pre and post ganglionic fibers secretes the neurotransmitter noradrenaline and adrenaline. And mostly the sympathetic fibers involves in the fight and flight reaction. This is the primary function of the sympathetic fibers. Basis on this, we would like to discuss about the receptors present in the sympathetic fibers and their functions. We have alpha receptors and beta receptors of the sympathetic fibers. Again, alpha receptors divided into the alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, 2, 3, so on. The alpha 1 receptor acting as a GQ protein, small G proteins, and further it activates the secondary messenger. And mostly these alpha 1 receptors present in the blood vessels. Most of the blood vessels mainly facilitates the constriction of the blood vessel in order to maintain the BP, and also present in the eye facilitate the mydriasis in the fight or flight reaction. Mydriasis means dilation of the pupil, and of course these alpha 1 receptor present elsewhere in the body, where the main locations are the blood vessels and the eye, facilitates the fight or flight reaction. And alpha 2 receptor usually acting via G protein I for inhibition. So they mainly present in the presynaptic fibers of the sympathetic fibers and inhibits the release of noradrenaline from presynaptic neurons of the sympathetic fibers, and mostly inhibitory in nature. And but if alpha 2 receptor present in the postsynaptic fibers, they act as alpha 1 receptors. So the alpha 1 receptor function. So the overall alpha 2 receptor in the presynaptic, inhibitory, and postsynaptic excitatory in nature. Coming to the beta receptors, beta 1 receptor, beta 2 and beta 3 receptor, almost all beta receptor acting via GS, S for stimulus, G protein, and further activate the secondary messenger. So coming to the beta 1 receptor, it present in the heart and accelerates the heart rate, increases the heart rate when it gets stimulated, and the JG cells, juxtaglomerular cells of the nephron, and increases the renin secretion upon the stimulation of the beta 1 receptor during the fight or flight reaction. So the increasing the heart rate is essential requirement, as well as the renin secretion, which facilitates the further systemic adjustments, also essential to maintain the fight or flight reaction. And coming to the beta 2 receptors, so these beta 2 receptors present in the lungs. They present in the lungs and facilitate the bronchodilation during the fight or flight reaction. And liver, it helps the glucose outpouring from the liver via the various reactions, mainly catabolism of the glucose, and facilitates the glucose availability for the emergency requirement situation. And beta 2 receptor are also present in the blood vessels, mainly coronary and skeletal blood vessels, where it enhances the or facilitate the excess flow of the blood to the heart as well as the skeletal muscle in order to supply nutrients and other requirement during the emergency situation via beta 2 receptor. And alpha 1 receptor, mainly you can see over here, the present on the blood vessels, general the blood vessels, so elsewhere of the blood vessels having the alpha 1 receptor, whereas the specific coronary receptors and the skeletal muscle blood vessels are innervated with the beta 2 receptor. So, and beta 2 receptor also present in the urinary bladder and facilitate the relaxation during the fight or flight reaction, and GIT for the relaxation during the emergency or fight or flight reaction, ureter also relaxation. Lastly, the beta 3 receptor. Beta 3 receptor present in the adipose tissue and mainly facilitating the lipolysis. The lipolysis is the major consequences of beta 3 receptor on emergency situation in order to facilitate the energy supply for the metabolic process. So these are the alpha and beta receptor present in various parts of the body and how they reacting to the emergency or fight or flight reaction via the sympathetic fibers.